Hello.
Hi, everybody. It's Mark and Kathy, a
We're
part of the
back for
Cinemondo team.
dragons.
Yes, we're back for HBO Max's House of the Dragon season finale / episode 10 / The Black Queen.
Boy, it
Yeah.
was, this show was really good.
Yes, it was.
It had a lot of powerful stuff, and I like that it didn't go for a lot of cheap shots and gratuitous dumb shit. Like it was really tight and political and elegant and smart, overall. But we're here to talk about the finale too.
Yeah, extremely well written, and this episode is no exception.
Yep.
Directed by Greg E. Taines, who did a lot of them and a lot of Game of Thrones. So he's a veteran.
He's a pro.
Yeah, he is. And this one is, if you remember episode 9, we know that King Aegon is crowned, and Rhaenyra and Daemon are nowhere to be found.
That's right.
So Rhaenys, at the end comes up with her dragon. She decides not to flame everybody out. Instead, sort of
so annoying.
I know.
Knowing what we know, huge mistake.
Right. So she just sort of says, this is not my, whatever war to fight or something. And she takes off and she goes back to, to tell them. And that's kind of how the episode starts.
And here she comes riding in, and she asks to see, Rhaenyra, and she breaks the news her father died.
Right.
And then she starts going, she's pregnant. She starts going to getting some pains, right? When she hears that.
Yeah.
Then she goes, oh, wait, there's more. By the way, Aegon is king now. And she was like, ugh. So then we get to endure this long, torturous, terrible, painful death scene.
Yes, it's she is giving birth and she's in labor and she doesn't want any help from her handmaidens. And
I quite understand that, but okay.
So she's screaming in the other room, and meanwhile Daemon and the council is trying to say, well, here's our plan to get revenge, start this war. I mean,
Daemon did not waste any time.
No, so he's saying,
like,
hey, we've got like 8 dragons. We got 13 dragons. They've got 4. This is all about dragons. We have the power to do this, and even before that scene of the labor, she has a nice moment with her son.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to sort of be a ruler, he's reluctant. He's just a young kid.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not ready for any of this. And they showed, it was great. They showed this opening scene of all these embers being put underneath the war table.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, right? And then it's heating up, so it's showing you all the lines through the map, and you're lighting up all these familiar names that we all know from Game of Thrones. It was like, it was so good. So, there's, Luke, he's in there kind of touching the table and kind of messing around with it, and then he's just like, this is too much for me. I can't do this. I can't deal with it. And he's a kid. Like, how old is he? 14, 15, something like that?
Yeah, he's like it looks like just a kid in, maybe junior high school or early high school, but he's got this incredible amount of weight. But Rhaenyra just says, listen, you can do it. Saying, hey, this is something that you can do. You're going to grow into it. I'm here. I've got your back, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, she goes into labor, and it's a painful labor, and it does not end well.
No, she has a stillbirth, but the baby looks like, they are related, so the baby's not looking exactly normal.
Right.
So, it was sad, but she took it really hard, like really hard. So she not only she had to deal with the fact her baby's dead, she had to deal with the fact that her dad is dead, that someone stole her crown, that now she has to go to war. And then she has a husband who's not listening to her. He's not even there. He wasn't even helping. He was just gone. He's out doing his thing. He completely does not give a shit.
He does not. He's not there. Like, he's not there for her, and so she realizes in many ways that she's alone. As a queen normally is. Like, ultimately it's you.
Mm-hmm.
So while this is happening, one of the twins, I don't know if it's Eric or Ark, he comes in and he goes up to Queen, who's outside, and shows the crown, King Viserys's crown.
Mm-hmm.
And like his fealty is to her, and this is proving the point. So Daemon puts the crown on Queen Rhaenyra.
And that all kind of made sense, because remember in the last episode, he was the one when they were trying to find Aegon. He was not helping. He was like, I'm not into this. I'm not going to catch this guy. We shouldn't even be finding him. I don't want him to be king. And he was not supportive at all. And he was just like, I'm out of here. He just took off. He's like, not gonna stay. And so you were like, okay, so I guess. But his brother, on the other hand, did stay and is, showing fealty. So
Right. Interesting. So they have the funeral for the stillborn baby, and so they go back into the sort of the council room to figure out how we gonna what's the plans. And of course, Daemon is full board. We're gonna go for war. We're but she says, Queen Rhaenyra says, I do not want to rule over ash and bone. This
because she knows it's like they're basically nuclear war. If we go to war with dragons, there's gonna be nothing left.
Right.
And I love too because there's a big quote, and this is why Viserys never wanted to go to war. He has this great quote that says, "The idea that we control the dragons is an illusion." Now, see, he's like, if we go to war, we lose control of dragons. We don't know what they're going to do because they start connecting with the rider, and if the rider's feeling scared or threatened, or if they're being hyper aggressive, the dragon will reflect that. And so, it's not good.
But it's a bit of foreshadowing for the final.
A lot of foreshadowing. Yeah. So we have that. Well, we knew they were taking a while to get the action going. Like they had a lot of intimate moments, a lot of in the castle moments. We knew they were saving the budget for some big blowout at the end. And I didn't know if it was going to be like, because I didn't know if they set up the show to be complete or if it was going to have a second season. Like how invested were they? So I thought, are they going to end this like with a big war and then we'll continue and they did get a new season, by the way. Yay.
Well, thankfully, because
this is a big cliffhanger.
Yeah, because there is no big war because she doesn't want that. But meanwhile, Daemon does. But
he really does. They have a lot of words about it.
They have a lot of words about it. They're back and forth. They want to, they're at odds. Meanwhile, Otto Hightower comes with his crew to Driftmark and basically offers terms saying you can have, your family will have this.
It sounded tempting, I have to say.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And and Aegon is the rightful heir. I mean, it's just, this is the
only
reality.
reason he's the rightful heir is because we gave him the crown and the sword. So that makes him the king. That's the only reason. He had all the affects, all the symbols, but he's not actually, he was not supposed to be the king.
Right.
So he's not legitimately the king because Viserys clearly did not want that. No one did.
Not. But Hightower has this great quote, like, she goes, no, I'm promised this, I'm promised that. And he goes, well, all you have is stale oaths. We have the reality of the situation on our side. So,
well, I also loved Matt Smith's response, which was full of profanity, but just like, I would rather feed my sons to dragons than show fealty to your drunken asshole son. I mean, that's basically what he said with much worse language.
Right.
Like, he was great. Like, thing is, he's a terrible person, but I love him because Matt Smith is so great at playing him with this sort of, I don't know. He's evil, but he's on the right side.
He's on the right side, and he's
terrible.
Tough. He's the tough guy. Every show has that. You're rooting for him, but he's ruthless. He's a psychopath. Whatever he is, you want him on your side. Let's put it that way.
Also, that was another thing when he was going back and forth with the queen, which clearly he wants to be the king. Like he's very frustrated that she gets to call the shots. Like he's kind of like, oh my God. So when she tells him about the prophecy, which is something Viserys, there's that great scene where he shows her tells about the prophecy. And then she's like, he didn't tell you. Like gives him kind of that, he grabs her by the throat and starts choking her. Like, okay, is this a normal part of their relationship? Because she looked pretty shocked when it was done. Like, whoa. And you're kind of like, he's killed 2 wives technically. I mean, killed his first wife. The second wife was having a terrible birth, so he let her just kind of go out to her dragon and get burned up. So it's like, okay, she's a third wife, and he's not kind, and he does not give a shit.
I think that's the first time. I mean, she probably should have known, but this was like, oh yeah, actually, he could do this to me. It would not be surprising. So I think that was definitely. So now she's on this, this thin ice with him, and with what's happening, back. It's crazy. So I feel so bad for her.
I know. I feel bad. She's trying to be a good queen, but she's and I think they make a point of it. She's playing the Viserys version of a queen, which is, I want to avoid a war. I want to be a good person. I don't think we should be hurting people. I don't want to get hurt. Like she's very concerned with keeping the peace, which is what Viserys wanted.
And Otto Hightower brings out this little piece of paper that shows it to Queen Rhaenyra, who came on, who had a great entrance in her dragon. She
had that same callback to like episode 2, where she's late to this big meeting. She flies in. Her dragon is much bigger now. Flies in, bam, lands where it did before, and she's like, "I'm here, people."
Yeah. But Hightower gives her like a piece of paper that is like something from when she was younger with Allison, and how they, the storybook had this great relationship. It's like, don't forget, she was your friend.
Oh, such a cheap shot too. No way. I know. If Allison's such a great friend, why the hell did she just do this to me? It's like,
yeah, exactly. She's not, obviously. She's so it progresses to hey, we've got to get Stark and all the different families on our side. Right. So
we're they also got Corlys.
Right.
He's back from his bizarre
Corlys is back from his
he just went out somewhere. We don't know where.
He's not looking good. He's in a cane and he's lying down.
Strange.
Yeah.
And Rhaenys, I think I said Rhaenys. She has that great line where she's like, this girl is the only one keeping us for more right now. And I love they have this great shot. This is so resonant to me too. Here she is at a huge table, bunch of dudes standing around, and she's holding them on back. Like she's sitting there just like, why? So it's like she's surrounded by a bunch of men to go to war. Now they have to listen to this woman who doesn't want to go to war, and they're all just like, "Rrr."
Right.
That was very, very profound. And then of course, once they come in and give them their support, it's all game on now. It's kind of like, oh, well, maybe we can make this work. Let's start going after some more houses, shall we?
Right. And Corlys comes in and says, I've defeated, so I can block off all the shipping lanes. And
great.
They'll be basically stuck.
Yeah, they won't be able to get supplies. They won't be able to get anything.
So that's sort of like, I'm thinking, oh, well, that's a huge advantage. And all of a sudden, and of course, with the dragon advantage, I mean, it's like they have a lot of stuff on their side. Mm-hmm. But Queen Rhaenyra says, I want to go out and make sure I get the blessings of all these houses. Right. Yeah. So she asks her two sons, Luke and what's another one's name? Aemon or something? Or
no, Aemon's the eye patch guy.
Yeah, not him.
The two sons.
The two sons,
older and younger.
Yeah, and
they get on young one.
They get on their small, cute dragons.
Yeah,
and they head to. Is it called Storm's End?
It's the Baratheon. Storm's End's Baratheon's house. And we all recognize his name. He was in Game of Thrones. Well, not him, but his family, his house.
His family.
And I love that too because that's like these kids were raised with their dragons, so the dragons aren't that old. They're not good at riding dragons yet. And when I saw them get on, it was like watching kids ride off on a bike. Like kind of not great, and you're like,
and it's also beautiful. The dragons were beautifully rendered as these dragons that aren't quite. They're young. They're flapping kind of hard. It's almost like young bird,
like a bird.
Yeah,
so well done.
Right, so beautifully done. Yeah. And they go to
into a stormy sky, which was kind of stressful. It wasn't raining yet, but it looked like impending doom, which was.
Well, they're going to where I guess it's always storming. So,
but she was being nice to Luke, so she goes, "You get to go Storm's End because it's not very far." And Baratheons have been friendly with us, and he'll be very flattered that you showed up as a prince, coming to his.
So he lands, he lands at the castle, and there's this fantastic shot right out of the best kaiju movies of this other bigger.
So he's in the
dragon.
big courtyard with his little cute dragon.
Yeah, and off to the side, you see the silhouette of the huge dragon.
Lightning.
And it's just like, oh my god, intense.
It looked like a dinosaur. It was massive, and I love too how you only saw because lightning was going off behind it a little bit. And I didn't even realize how big it was. Like we've seen Vhagar a few times. But you knew it was big. But that was like, what? I mean,
is he the biggest? Is he the oldest?
That's the biggest, oldest, most powerful.
Right. Okay, gotcha. And why does he have it? I mean, he
stole it from when she died. What was her name? When she asked the dragon to blast her, he stole it and got his eye carved out because he was being an asshole.
Gotcha.
So he was being a dick about it. He stole the dragon from those two girls. They should have had it.
Right. So
that's also another good point because now they have less dragons, but they have that dragon.
They have the dragon that's worth like
the
5
really
dragons.
Good, like 10 dragons. It's like badass as hell. Okay.
Yeah. So Luke goes in, and speaks with the king, and he's like, well, what is this? I mean, I've already have an envoy from Queen Alicent. And
I know, and then the camera pans over and you got fucking Aemon standing there looking all shitty like he always does with his eye patch. He's all got that pouty pout, and he's like, that's right, I'm gonna marry one of these daughters and you can't.
Yeah. And so he comes with this generous offer, and Luke doesn't come with an offer.
No, he just came with the, hey, remember your father used to like us, and even Baratheon's like, you're kidding me, right? Get out of here.
Right.
Which was shitty. I love too how he didn't even read it because he probably can't read. So he had a guy come and read because he's too high up in the chain to have to actually read.
Right.
So
reading is work. So he tells him, take off. Like Aemon wanted to get into a fight. Like he would basically.
He's like, give me your eye. You took my eye. I'm taking your eye.
Yeah. So he throws him his
just being an
sword.
asshole, bullying
he's
him
just
again,
being a jerk.
as usual.
And the king says, no, get out, get back on your dragon and go home.
And the kid is heartbreaking looking because he looks like one of the Brady Bunch. Like he's super cute. He has this fluffy brown hair, clearly not, the right blood in him to be really good at dragon riding anyway, but okay.
I feel like, and the kid was a good actor because you feel like I don't belong in this whole situation.
He's like, why am I doing this?
I should be in King's Landing,
He didn't want to do it anyway.
Yeah. So you see
him out there. It's starting to rain.
It's starting to rain, lightning, and he gets on his little dragon.
He shouldn't be on his little dragon.
I know.
In the storm.
And
he takes off. But also, we notice there's no Vhagar behind him anymore.
He notices that too, like, that dragon's not there, so he gets on and he starts, and this is very intense and very, the whole scene was
so
very
well shot.
done.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're just diving, like the little baby dragon's like flapping his wings really fast. It's trying dodging in and out, and the lightning's going off. I'm like, oh my God, the weather alone was freaking me out.
Yeah, it was freaky. And of course, all of a sudden, you see like this great shot of like from the ground looking up, and you see the big dragon go over him like a 747 going over.
It was like Jaws in the water. Like when you see him kind of swim underneath, you realize how freaking huge it is. It was like, the dragon. It was literally like, would it be like a condor with a sparrow? So it was like,
it was way overmatched.
The chase is on. So then Aemon's just chasing him and going, I'm going to get you. Just being an asshole. So he's trying to dodge him. And it was so well done. And so it just doesn't. And it's scary. And how's that kid going to hang on? And the little dragon's trying his best. So they have a great Star Wars kind of scene where
because he
goes into the narrow canyon. Aha!
Right. Smart. And then the big dragon just can't do that, obviously, but it's flying above. Yeah. And so he's doing his best to sort of he's getting nervous, and going back to what was said earlier, the dragon is feeling that nervous.
Yeah, he's getting scared, and he's not a great rider. And also, like, even Aemon was like, okay, he got away. He goes, fine, I'm gonna get you next time. Like he's like, yeah. And he's flying over the canyon, you can't find him, and he's just being a dick,
Right.
But little Arix
comes out of nowhere.
He's like, he's like, I'm not gonna take this standing up. I'm gonna go up here and do something.
Yeah. So he shoots some flames at
flame, like nothing. Vhagar wouldn't even feel it.
Right. And Luke is like, no, Arix, don't do it. Yeah. And
he's like, no, stop it. Listen to me. And I remember him when he got on him in the beginning, he was like, you've got to listen to me.
Right.
You got to hear what I say.
Right.
Don't do anything crazy. And so there they were. So again, they're still animals, right?
They're still animals. And of course, after that,
so then they take off, and there's a great, like, he's looking over his shoulder, and it's like, you can't see it. Where is it?
Right.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then out of nowhere, he comes right in front, opens up his mouth, and just chomps Arix and Luke, and just, instant death. And
so sad.
Yeah. And
he did not like it.
Yeah. And it was like, he was like, no. He didn't.
He's like, wait, what?
Yeah, but then sort of at the end, after he saw like the dead, the remains sort of falling to the ground, he sort of had this look on his face like, well, that was bad, but that kind of was maybe good.
I didn't get that. I got him like, fuck, now I have to think about this. I either escalated the war. Do I just pretend like it never happened?
Yeah.
What do I? So for him, he's like, I don't think he intended to kill him. I mean,
no, definitely.
In the books, it didn't go this way. They didn't have the doubt, which I think was a great addition of him, like kind of just taking it too far. And then the dragon was out of control because he's a shitty rider, and the dragon's massive. And it's like, I'm not listening to you. Who are you anyway? So it just did what it wanted, which they always do technically. So I thought it was a great little moment that they would have him kind of go, what? Like, no. And then have that, fuck, what did I just do? Because basically he just started the war.
He started the war, and he's smart enough to know that he did that. I got the sense that maybe he didn't. I mean, he was sort of ready for it, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Okay.
I think he's all show, that guy. He just just being a bully. That's been his whole life. He's just bully. The thing he didn't count on was having a dragon. He thought he was hot shit that he really couldn't control, and that was what he didn't know. He thought he was arrogant enough to think, I got this covered. No, you don't.
You don't.
Really don't.
And so this horrible scene happens, and you go, "Oh my God, that poor kid is gone. That poor dragon is dead." And we cut back to Driftmark, and Damon comes in slowly and walks up to the queen, who is, overseeing things, and takes her aside and tells her, obviously, we don't hear this. We just, it's just.
Is this from the back?
Whispering.
They're walking toward the fireplace.
Right. And then so she slowly turns around, and the look on her face.
Oh, it's such a great look. She's full of rage and grief.
Yeah.
And like she's lost 2 sons in one day. And I like too when they're walking toward the fireplace and you see her kind of staggered just a little bit. And you're just like, oh, it just gives me goosebumps. Such a great performance. Oh my God. So
good. Excellent performance. And she turns around with this look on her face.
They just linger on this face.
Yeah. And it cuts to black, and that's the end of the show. So it sets you up for season 2, where it's going to start out, all out war, or that's where we're headed, because, they went too far. They killed 2 of his, her sons in one day. They killed the poor little dragon. Yeah. And and Damon is, he's ready now. He said, "Listen, I don't care what you say."
Yeah, Damon's basically like, now you're going to listen to me, because this could have been avoided if you hadn't sent your kids off to, on what you said was just an errand that ended up being super dangerous. What they should have known, it was dangerous. They should have known that. And the minute that kid landed, he should have seen that dinosaur, that giant dragon. He should have known just get the fuck out. But he didn't, because she didn't give him any instructions. She just said, go deliver this note. You'll be fine.
Right.
I still can't blame her.
It goes back to episode 9. She should have just torched everybody, and that would have been,
exactly. And we don't even know what happened to the other son.
All of a sudden, he was just, who knows? Yeah. So it sets you up as a great sort of like, now there's motivation for all out war for season 2. Beautifully.
Now we're going into the Dance of Dragons.
We're
going into some of the Game of Thrones books.
Yeah. So that's, so it's a great, I mean, this, I don't think it could have been any better to me as far as the way it was produced. The acting was great. I do miss Paddy Considine, but he was excellent, and everybody else is good in it too. I mean, all the actors are quality. So Rhys Davies, who is Rhys Ifans, who is out on Hightower. He always played goofy characters in TV shows and movies, and he's a real heavy in this one.
He's a snake in this one.
Yeah. So it's a great show. Again, I'll say this again. I'm not a Game of Thrones person. I've only watched 1 or 2 episodes, but now
you're getting it now, aren't you?
Segue right into it, and anybody else who was like, I don't like that stuff, start with this. You will be entertained. You will love it. It's really good, and when the action comes, I mean, it is as good as any cinematic experience you see in it.
It was fantastic, and really, it's like But really, it's like, if you haven't started, there's really no excuse. It's a much easier way in than Game of Thrones. You don't have to know anything beforehand.
Right.
It's like, it starts you off pretty small, like a small cast of characters. There's some time jumps. The characters are growing up fast. But I feel like that makes it a lot easier to kind of, draw people in, because Game of Thrones was so huge and sprawling. And there were so many characters and so many houses to keep track of. And here you're seeing one house. And they're talking to their allies, but this is the House of the Dragon. That's it.
And it's a smart way, I think, for people thinking, hey, we're going to try to bring in the people that didn't watch Game of Thrones, which, there's still a healthy amount of those.
Because you don't need to watch Game of Thrones to enjoy it, as you know.
Right. Yeah. So House of the Dragons.
People, dragons.
Yeah. And they're beautifully done. I mean, the dragons are so fantastic. So it's a great show. I loved it, and can't wait for season 2. But now I have 6 seasons of Game of Thrones, or 5 seasons.
See, you've got stuff to keep you busy until it comes out.
Certainly do. I certainly do. All right. That was fun. Thanks for going on this ride with us, and we'll be back next year for sure. Yeah. Okay. Take care, everybody. See ya.